Good evening. It's Wednesday, October 16th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Calling the Lakeville Board of Health meeting to order. Is there anyone in the audience recording this?
I actually would like to record it.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll just state your name.
Kimberly Minad.
Okay, is recording it. Lake Cam is also recording this and will be available for a future viewing. First on the agenda, 12 Denise Street, meet with Foresight Engineering to discuss requested local upgrade. Aaron?
Good evening.
To you.
Gary Mateo, Foresight Engineering. We have a failed cesspool from 1965 and we're going to upgrade it with a microfast system. Unfortunately, due to the location of 3 wells, we can't get outside the 100-foot radius with the size of the lot. So I've done my best to split the difference between all 3 lots, knowing that our well is really the only one that's down gradient of the water supply or the pond where the water flows to. The abutter to the west already has a variance to their own system, it's a Presby, and the abutter to the south has not replaced their system since the 90s, so that'll be coming up at some point. That is a D-night system, we're replacing a cesspool, no water table. We're asking for a depth to low grade for the system. We are cutting the backyard, we're gonna fix the drainage issues. Right now, all the water puddles are exactly where that old septic is, basically flows to the back of the garage and is causing all the wood to rot there. So we're gonna cut the whole backyard down a couple feet. And that allows me to get the septic only 4 feet in the ground rather than deeper in a gravity system, rather than a microfast with a pump.
All right, I just have a couple questions first. There's, like you said, really nowhere else to put it. You're 5 feet further from the well on 10 Denise, and you're 10 feet further from their existing well on this lot. You are closer to 3 Hilltop Acres, but
Yeah, they are upgrading of us, that grade continues to go uphill and groundwater flows towards the water, so it'd be coming across our site.
okay. The only thing I have is on your soil log, you're calling elevation of water at 96.5, but says dry. That must be a typo. I can't figure out where that came from.
That was the 9 feet.
Wouldn't that be
Oh, sorry,
95.5?
it should be 95.5, yes. I might have used, the lot next door where Niles and Jamie did one right to the left of us. And they went down deeper, we hit some large rocks and couldn't get deep enough.
Right, so you're 95.5 there.
Yeah,
But
so I
you-
tied into their elevations to run the same datum, so I used their water table.
But to get 4 feet below the bottom of the system, that we need to really show
Yep,
that there's no models at, especially with variances to wells, you're not at 94.5.
yep, we can do a deep hole at that time, that's fine. I mean, worst case is we need a pump.
Right. Just with those variances, I think I need to verify there's at least 4 feet.
Yep.
Before, where you didn't get down deep enough. I called Ed, he said you're like 30 feet above the water, he thinks,
Yeah.
up there, you're way up at top of the
Yeah,
hill.
we just had some big rocks down to like 8 feet that we just couldn't move with the machine we had there without knocking down even more trees, so. Once the site's cleared, it'll be a lot easier to dig that deep, and they'll have a bigger machine there to put the system in. I'm pretty confident, I've done a few in that area with no water table issues on top of the hill there.
That's what Ed had said.
Yeah, as soon as you start going downhill, it comes
There
up a
wasn't
little bit.
models or anything up on top of that hill.
Yep,
I did pull the one from next door too, and he shows it there at about, it's just probably about 102.5, 102.6, and they went down 10 feet. So,
No models, no
nothing, yeah,
at
it was
10
dry.
feet.
No weeping, no models, no standing.
Okay.
yeah, that's why I just grabbed their log for groundwater, because they got a hole deeper and just tied into that datum. But we can do a deep hole at a time, bottom hole, that's fine. It's just like we did on Baker Lane, we can go
Baker.
and verify, yep.
I'm fine with that. That was the only thing I came up with.
And it's a 2-bedroom. My plan looks like somebody rode over it with a.
Yeah, on the building itself. But in the design, it says,
Yeah, so we did a 3 minimum because we're doing a micro fast. So I see no reason to limit it.
well, the design says 2.
Yeah,
on the plan.
two-bedroom deed restriction.
Yeah, it should be two, sorry, it should be two.
Yeah, and then
It was a
on the
three.
building, it said 3 and there's a 2
Yes,
written over it.
yeah. That was a typo.
That was my only question.
So the only thing,
Yeah, I had nothing, I mean,
yeah, so I designed it on two, but I didn't take the 50% reduction that we're allowed. I left it at the two because this being the D night, that's your new regulation. This is probably where the system's gonna go in perpetuity. So why not make it as big as allowable without over-designing it?
Okay, but we can't increase the flow.
Right,
because of
it'll
the
be a
well
two-bedroom
variance.
deed restriction, yep, that'll be on the microfast, we can do that.
Ed, did you have anything else on this?
No, I didn't.
Just the note to do a deep hole,
Yeah.
verify
Yep,
water table at
that's fine.
time. Anyone in the audience to speak to this one? I see no one. I'm good with it. No questions?
I'll make a motion, we approve the sewage disposal system upgrade design for 12 Denise Street, with the 4 local upgrade requests, and a deed restriction required, and then also the one caveat that we do a deep hole at the time of installation to verify water table.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tom.
Have a good night.
Next on the agenda, 327 Pond Lane. We continued it from the October 2nd, 2024 meeting. Meet with Collins Civil Engineering Group to discuss requested variances for proposed well.
I just have a question.
Yep.
Didn't, he just said that that he's too close to the well from his septic?
Yes.
So, and you're giving him the okay to do that when I'm too close and you're saying that I can't?
To repair to an existing well,
I'm sorry?
to repair, and it's existing, like wells and stuff.
Pre-existing non-conforming, so he already had a well on the property. That's why I said we give variances quite often, because we have to, you can't deny them. But there was a wells already there, and the septic is already there, so
Right.
we're kinda. we
Your
go- and they did a
situation,
D-night.
if you had a well and we needed to fix that, we would work with you to do it, but.
That's the,
yeah.
that's the difference, you don't have a well, you have a community well. That's,
And that was an improvement because he went to 78, but he was at like 50. So he went from 50 to 78 and he put in an advanced system. So it was a big improvement on what was there. And that was the key. So they do grant waivers, but usually the benefit is there's a huge improvement in the health of the situation.
So my taxes went up $3,000 from last year. I haven't had water in 6 months. It doesn't look like I'm gonna have water because now my neighbors don't wanna give me the variance or easement or whatever it is to get, you know, because gonna have 3 wells, they can't have 4 wells on the same property. They are willing to give me the easement next to my garage. That's too close. So now I'm gonna have to move because they won't give it to me. So I don't, like, I bought the house in 99 and I've been there for forever. And I'm like, I wouldn't hold anybody responsible if something happened. You know, like I
I don't understand what you're saying, that they won't give you an easement. You have an existing line there now. You have
no,
the right to
the
repair,
neighbors that are
replace it.
putting their own well in on their other property, they were willing to give me,
It's actually a setback relief to their lot line and an easement, just,
yeah, correct, right, on that piece. Yeah, we'll give him an
it's actually like an access
We
easement.
asked at the last meeting to go back here where them two were going,
Yeah.
give her an easement back there, so she needs more setbacks. And that's why,
Right,
that's
and
why we
they-
continued it.
and they won't,
They
yeah,
said
and they
no.
won't give it because they're gonna have 3 wells up there.
They don't wanna
And they don't,
put
yeah.
a fourth for the yield or for whatever reason.
So essentially, you know, and then I understand the difference between the cases or whatever, but basically, again, we've discussed the fact that the community well that serviced 20 pieces of property has been declassified as a non-public well.
Correct.
And now, and there's nobody else before you, there's, that's, for whatever reason, I don't know why, and mostly, a lot of these people are seasonal. She's year-round,
I'm the only one year round. Like
so it's like, she's.
now I'm not
So
going to be
she's-
year round because I
she's-
don't have water.
So, I understand you have a job to do, but to deny her something, if she's willing to give the board.
I think it's more on the people in the neighborhood that raced to get off of it and left her holding the bag.
So
She's
what is
not the
it?
only one left
I
on
mean,
it though.
she's not, there's still,
Right,
so
but there's-
technically there's 5 other people still on it.
There's 5 houses, correct? The two of them are getting a well on their other property. Another one has been abandoned for, I don't know, 10 years. And then the last one has like this well that they've had, that they reconfigured it or whatever, that was working 25 years ago or whatever, for whatever reason, they got off it and got onto our community system. This was well before me. And so, but other than my neighbor next door, that's the only year-round one they're not there year-round, but it is a year-round house.
So basically, I mean, I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know, but she, at this point, other than getting relief from this board from something that I think is well within your purview to do, the only encumbrances are, we're gonna be 2 feet off the neighbor's lot line. I have a letter from those people, supporting the project and providing any easements for her to access that. And then, the other encumbrances are all on her for, setbacks from the other septic systems around them. And then I know you said the system up the hill, you believe it's in failure, but however, we do meet from a hydrogeological standpoint, the upgradient system would be the biggest concern, and we meet the setback to
The
that
102 on that
upgradient system. So, again, we're grasping at straws at this point, and she, this is her home. This is where she lives. This is not a seasonal place, and she has no options right now. So, but if you
Well-
deny these requests, is she?
Well, there isn't, you can't say there's no option. I mean, you can fix the line. That's the
That's
option.
not practicable or viable. We don't have the time to do that. What are we gonna do? Sue everybody? Sue all the neighbors to make them?
So we should give relief that's gonna open a can of worms in the entire town for other neighborhoods that have situations like this. Right, because you don't have time or don't wanna
Yeah,
Do we
take
have a
legal
written-
action?
Do we have a written estimate of what it would be to repair it?
No,
Is it possible
It's
to
like-
get one?
I don't know. It's approximately a third of a mile away, and
About 1,000 feet, yeah.
so this is, what we're asking you would at least take care of it for her, and then unless we created some sort of an agreement that if that water supply becomes viable again, then she would agree to tie into it. But to expect one person who's year round
Right.
to have the onus of having to pay for something like that when other people would
Right.
benefit from
Well, do you have an estimate for a well?
Yeah, like approximately $15,000.
Yeah, an estimate, I mean,
And then,
I mean, I can get that
I think
estimate.
I'm just
I think
saying-
they had mentioned that it's approximately $100,000 to run the line, but that's just something that,
hypothetical, but
Sure.
you're putting,
100,000
willing to put 15 into a well, but not
25,000
15 into a repair?
That's more like 15 grand.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not.
But again, on my point, I don't see if that would even change the cost benefit. I mean, if we could get the distance and you met it, but it's, you're on a 9,000 square foot lot. You're asking us to give you a well when you have a shared public well, and we went back to the records from 65. I believe we have the card. It said it was on a shared well
Yeah.
originally, so it didn't never had a. Yeah, I looked back to see if it had a well on that property somewhere.
Yeah.
We looked everywhere, we went to the assessors, I tried to see if there was a well like some of these houses. There was never a record of a well on your property. It says
Yeah, no, I
right,
didn't think there was.
that's what, I wanted to make sure there wasn't. And right from the original card from the assessors, it says it's on the shared property. And, you know, I tried to swing way down by the water to try to get there. You just can't really get 100 feet from everybody. Well, you can't because of that neighbor's on 329. You can't, you can only get like 80 feet from their septic down by the water.
Yeah.
You can get 100 from 326, 325. And then if you redid your septic and put a D-night in, you could get up to 100 from yours, on your lot. But it was still, even doing that, I don't.
So what, so
Yeah,
at this point.
you still at the
Yeah,
same.
so at this point, her house will be condemned and then what?
Just gonna ask, do you know the history on it? The house was supposed to be built in 1945. We don't have the best records from back then. Was there ever a well there? Did you
No,
ever
I
hear of
don't,
a
I
story?
don't know. I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Because it would help out the situation a lot if there was. And if there was an existing well and then you improve, like I said, you made a better well that was further away and things like that. But if there's not evidence that there was a well
Yeah,
there.
I don't know.
And I missed the meeting, but I can't vote, but the one I was at, you had come and said that the well was no good anymore, but that turned out not to be true, that the well's fine, it's just the line running to it. And now tonight you're saying $100,000, and I've checked with a couple of people, and it's about 15 grand to run a 2-inch line 1,000 feet. So, which is about the cost of a well. So it's not gonna cost any more than the 15 grand you just said for a well to fix it and us not have to give you a variance.
Okay.
But I can't vote anyway, but that's how I would feel about it if it was. If it really was $100,000, it'd be a different story.
Yeah, I apologize. That's just a number that was provided to me.
Yeah.
Right, and from conversations with the gentleman that managed the well prior, it was good water. It was the infrastructure that was a problem, not the well itself. The water was good, and so, yeah, it's just a matter of, everyone kind of bailed because the infrastructure stunk.
Right. And again.
But it was a good well. Even once you get off the public water supply, the cost was less. I don't know why everyone continued to get off of it if it was a good well. When it was fixing some pipes in the road wasn't gonna be.
And also
I
on
don't
your
know.
point, another thing to factor in is, yeah, you're the only one that's on it year round needs to pay for it, but there's still, we believe, 3, even without the other 2 getting off, we have 3 lots that are still on this. They might not be used right now. Because one's abandoned, you said, and the other 2.
Yeah, we have,
And they have no room to put a well on their lot either.
313 and 317, were those the ones that you were?
Do you have names? I don't know I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
Sapersky is the abandoned one. I mean, not Sapersky, Stekovich. Stekovich is the abandoned one, and they must be,
How many doors down from you?
let's see, on 327, 325, 323. They must be 321.
Yeah, we
That's abandoned. Nobody's been there for years.
could it be 319?
Maybe 319?
Yeah, there is no 321.
Oh, okay, well then it must be.
It goes 325, 323, 319, 317.
Okay, so must be 319 then, that's abandoned. And then the 317, they're the one, they had a death, the owner died. So I don't know what's going on with them. And then 315, is there a 315?
Yep, there is a 315.
That's the one who had an existing well 40 years ago or whatever, and Tide got it fixed or runnable or whatever to, I don't know how good it is, but they're at least getting water, or I don't.
And then there was 313 too. We knew 315 was on a well. But there was 313 and 309.
So 309 has.
309 is when you come down Cedar Dale, it's on the left.
Okay, that's and that's gonna be Crawford, he would think was the last person that got off the well,
Okay.
I think. But he's definitely not on the well. It would be, the McGraw household, that's a combined house, families, and the Bradley and Stekovich, and then, Smith and me.
And can I ask if anybody's even investigated what's wrong with this line? It could just be a break and not need a whole 1,000 feet
So,
change.
McGraw
Do
is
the other
a,
people have water?
no, not on, what, on?
None of those houses that
None
are
of those
hooked up have
pieces,
water?
no. So they've been tapping into, my neighbor's been tapping into the house that they own above with the hose.
Yeah.
I'm on my other neighbor's hose. I know that at the beginning, one of them,
But I mean, has a well
One of-
guy looked and just made sure it's not a bad pump or something down there?
right, yes, so that was initially when all of a sudden I didn't have water in May.
Yeah.
I called the other families and said, hey, do you have water? Because I don't have water.
Yeah.
One of the family members is a plumber.
Yeah.
So they called, I think it was Lucas Pump, I think is who fixes our thing. They called him, he came down, actually said, well, it's actually fine, the pump seems fine, it's gotta be some from there to our houses. So McGraw is actually a plumber, so he did, I don't know what he did to check pressure or something on each house's line, and nothing came up, so we don't know.
What plugged it?
So then the line's between the well and the first house, so not even the whole 1,000 feet then the problem, if no one's getting the water. Right?
It would make sense if
Yeah.
it stops at the first house and you don't have water from the well, it's before the first house. It's not further down the road. So you could isolate it, from the well to the first house while you don't have pressure.
Could have been like, if it's not 4 feet down, maybe a truck going over it or going over the road or something like that,
Robert, would you be able to give me the name of the contractor that you talked to?
Yeah, not on camera, but after I'll tell you.
Okay, yeah, like I said, I
I
apologize.
mean, I do that for
I've-
11 and Derek does it for 11 too, and then he probably would,
Yeah,
Sam probably
Yeah,
close.
and the only other thing is I don't know what, because it's a private way and people own the feet of the middle of the way. I just don't know what the legalities are as far as doing work on somebody else's property. So again,
But that line's existing, you would have the right to repair your own water line.
What about the road? Do I have to pay for the road to get repaired again?
Do you know if it's down the middle of the road or on the side?
I don't know.
Yeah. Normally, they wouldn't put it right down the middle, they'd run it down.
Is there an
the side.
association for the neighborhood too?
Yeah.
So you have rights over that, so it's not like it's, people can stop you from fixing something.
yeah, and like you said, if if maybe it is, maybe we could take another look at that and see if there is just a break
right.
near the well.
Because, now if, you got your own well, you're another one off, because these other houses still have to use this well. Even though it's not working now and they're not getting water, they need this well. So the more of you stay together,
So that 319, no, 309? 309?
Yeah, 309,
I don't even
313,
know
and
if
317.
I don't know if 309 is in our thing or if it's off to the side.
309 is, so when you come down Cedardale, 311 is right in
left?
front of you, and 309 is just the
So it is
left.
Crawford. He was the last one to get off the well.
Okay, so he's off
That
as
was
well.
when he was off it or had just gotten off it when I bought the house in 99.
Okay, so he's been off for a while.
but again, there's nothing in our folder that shows he has a well, and we just approved a septic repairman of 311, assuming he was on association water.
Yeah.
So now he could have an issue, because it didn't show it. He was supposed to be on the association. And 311 has just been repaired without any wells shown on 309. So there's an issue there. Nothing to do with you, but
So, I mean, we probably will be sending a letter to 309 if he is off. And then, like I said, if he were to help you get, to help fund it, because he should be back on that. he was never given permission to go off it.
So back to like the association thing, like maybe it's worthwhile having a meeting and, you know, you guys can discuss amongst yourselves what's going on out here that we don't need to know about yet, right? And they can figure out what's going on, and then people can pool their resources and figure out a better way to fix this for everybody. You know what I mean? You get a better situation for everyone down there. And even people, like you said, there's an abandoned house or there's a person that passed away. I mean, that could be in probate and it comes out, and there could be family members ready to sell, and they'll have money available right there to help out too. Or they may want to know what's going on with that community well too, because if they're going to be, you know, having a property that's tied into it, they probably would want to know what's going on there too. We've seen situations like this in battles with community wells quite a bit since I've been on the board, and it's ugly, and we're kind of put in the middle, and
We have no authority on any
it's
of it.
tough, right? We want
But there's
everyone
no,
to get
like,
out of it the
you
best
four
way.
make the decision whether or not I get the well or not. There's like nobody
Just
else.
3, not me.
Oh, sorry.
You do have the right to appeal, our decision within 20 days. I can get you the listing if you'd like to. If it is, we vote, and it is denied. You do have the right to appeal it to, Superior Court, I believe it is. So you can appeal our decision and take it.
But I mean, we're being asked to make these decisions without all the facts. Like I said, the meeting, I missed one, but the meeting we were at, we were told the well was no good, and we said, you know, we're starting off hearing that a well's no good, and then we find out that the well's fine. So then we're hearing that it's the line, and now fixing the line's easier than doing any of the other stuff. And, you know, honestly, if a mini starts at the well, it starts digging, sooner or later, water's gonna come bubbling up wherever it's broken. There's so much sand down there, it's probably just going straight into the ground. I mean, I have my own equipment, I don't do much of it anymore, but 1,000 feet of 2-inch line isn't a lot of money to run that. And I would be shocked if it was down the middle of the road, honestly. Have you seen water lines run down the middle?
Back then, it might have been a
Yeah.
dirt road. It might have been easier at the
Just-
time just to do it before it was paved. You don't know back when they did this. Could be anywhere. Could be through neighbors' yards.
Yeah.
Could have went out. You don't know what they did. It was a free-for-all.
Did it ever freeze up in the wintertime?
No, not that I'm aware of.
So that's a good
Yeah.
sign.
So at least it's down 4 feet, which is why it's not bubbling up.
Yeah.
So,
And again, if you were the only one on this all the way down the end, even then, you still don't meet the thing, but there's other houses that have to be on this, so, and they don't have a spot to put a well either. On that, so just the line just needs to get fixed. And it's fortunate, we can't say, you know, you need to pay to help, we don't have that authority.
And even your other 2 clients who may choose to do a new well, but like I said, if it's $15,000 for a well, they're gonna throw $30,000 into new wells when they could just help you fix the line, probably for a lot less than $30,000.
Right, and you're still below the public water supply threshold. So there's no additional fees for having that. The only money that you have to pay into that is just maintenance, which pops up like right now when the
Yeah, if the
broken
well
line.
pump goes.
You're not paying an operator because it's not a public water supply. You don't have to pay for testing, all that, unless you choose to, right? So, I mean, it is, for them, it's even more cost beneficial to tie up into it too. Just, when you guys came before us with that, it made more sense to just fix it.
Yeah,
But-
and then just to be clear, we've all been on kind of a fact-finding mission, including myself, and basically I did obtain some verbal information that it was not just a availability of the water, but the water quality is very, very poor.
It was at one time. We don't get it.
But-
We don't get it, checked,
So there's that, and then I apologize, but my other client threw out the $100,000 cost, and
I never looked.
So again, that was just me collecting but not verifying information, so I apologize.
But the quality issue could be from the line, not from the well.
Yeah, when the line was starting to break, it was sucking dirt and crap into it.
Exactly,
And once it's
yeah.
fixed, that'll stop. Because Bob Bouchard was the water operator, and he said that was a really good well, so there's no problem with the well. So it's between the well and your house.
Well, it's been having to be chlorinated in the past when Bob was the person. I guess there's a second well there, so that when the big well gets chlorinated, they flip over a switch to do another well that's there, that's not really a good well, but I don't really know.
Yeah, there are two wells there. I checked with DEP and they had testing from like 97 to 2021. And it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't really high in anything, but they were probably testing the well and not, along the lines. So like I said, I can't speak for the line so much. I think they do more with it well.
And then did you look, I remember at the meeting I was I asked if you were gonna research the association and what the legal rights were against them. And maybe if you have to suck up the 15 grand yourself, you can put easements on all the other houses that you'll get sooner or later when it has to get done, because that's normally how that works. If somebody doesn't do it, like in a condo, if somebody doesn't pay to fix something, you have to fix it. And then you get to attach their houses and then with interest, and someday you'll get that money back. But again, if you were the only one, but I don't know if you've looked into that either, since we talked about the association and how that was drafted and what was involved in that. But
Yeah.
like everyone was done themselves. We don't draw them. We don't have a boilerplate. That had nothing to do with us. So,
All right, well, thank you for your guidance and, just kind of a conundrum we're in,
Yeah, right. I mean,
as well as yourselves.
to do one, you have to do all of them. You can't put wells on the 9,000 square foot lot.
You can, but you have reasons,
If-
you have
if the
reasons
pre-
not
yeah,
to.
Just because of the line, and it's.
Yeah, I just think
It's
this
it
is
is.
kind of an unusual set of circumstances, her particular circumstances.
Being the furthest away.
So the only thing that I'm thinking is at this point would be to, again, see if we can get some sort of a quick fix on the well line, if it's just a.
Yeah, start at the
Because it
well.
was-
If you didn't
it was
have
my
pressure at the first
understanding-
house.
It was my
you should have
understanding as
it-
a water quality as well as an availability thing, so. I know that's why my other clients want to do their own wells, because they've just been sick of dealing with the water, periodic water quality issues, so.
well, we have all the reports on the water down at the office, right? And we can show you all the reports on the water.
Yeah,
It's
again,
fine.
this is just information that people are telling me.
But like I said, I don't know about.
I mean,
the
how far
house,
is it from the
but-
well to the first house that doesn't have water?
250, maybe 300. It's down to the first intersection. They
Oh, then
scaled it
that's-
today.
That well's there. It's probably
309.
250 there. That
Yeah,
one
but
they
309 's
said
not
they're
even on the
and
water.
these,
So it
streets
would
down
be
here.
Be the next one.
three-
That's 700. so-
17?
I mean,
15,
it's
750.
a public well, the community well is a deep well, correct, right? It is a deep well.
It has to be.
Yeah, so I'm just double checking, but then these two new ones are gonna be deep wells. It's gonna be pretty much the same aquifer, right? So if you had issues with the deep water over here, they're gonna have issues there too. I mean, unless there's surface stuff going on, but I'm saying, if it's periodic things,
And even when you drill a new
that's
well.
having a well anywhere in town, you're gonna have periodic things, cause
Yeah, I mean,
there's,
I understand.
there's stuff
but
in the
we had
ground
the-
that's gonna get in the
3D
water.
well hydrofracted
Yeah, it's
at
because you
one
didn't have the
point
yield.
years ago.
Yeah. And even drilling the new well, once you sample it, even with a brand new well, if you did get a permit to do that, you still might need a $10,000 treatment system on top of the well drilling. I mean, a treatment system, because once you test it, it has to meet all our thing, or you have to do a treatment before you can even use your new well. So that would be a big cost if it didn't come back good.
I mean, if nobody has water, then it has to be in that first section. It just has to be. I mean, the break has to be in that section somewhere.
Any-
So now I'll find out how much it is to put the pipe in. And it still has to go to the people that don't have water, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, because you'd be liable if you disconnected them. I mean, and again, that's nothing to do with the board, we can't make it, it's all private on the association and you, but you can't disconnect other people's.
But again, you don't necessarily have to replace the whole line. You're more or less looking for the problem.
Yeah, I'm hoping maybe we can have somebody properly diagnose it and maybe just have a repair.
Correct.
So,
Would be
again,
the
a
best
lot
case.
a lot of the premise was, okay, it wasn't a very, again, the way it was explained to me, it was a water quality issue for a while, and now all of a sudden it's not available. you know, and then, you know, my other clients, you know, I think they have the means to do things that others might not have the means to do, so that was just,
Just if you're, right, the lines, the wells here, and the houses, the first couple of houses are right here that are hooked up. So if none of them have water,
then it's.
right, if everybody from here down didn't have water, then you'd know the break was there somewhere. So it has to be in that 250 or 300 feet,
Yeah,
like, you know,
yeah, so
it
maybe.
just has to be.
Yeah, so again, I'm not a well or a construction person, so, please excuse my ignorance. So, yeah, all right, so, I mean, I don't think there's any reason to bring this to a vote. I mean, you know, again, we were just
withdraw
trying to,
without
we were just
prejudice
trying to,
if you'd
we were
like,
just trying
or-
to present you with some information and hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, if you met the setbacks, you met it,
I
you
don't,
just, it's,
I don't think there's,
I'll be moving.
yeah, so we'll, yeah, so I guess we'll,
do we make a motion to withdraw without prejudice, or I just say withdraw? Withdraw?
Yeah, you can withdraw the.
I'd be
They
happy to
would
come
have
down with
to-
it someday
they
though
would have
and
to
show you what I'm
request it.
talking about and what you need to do. Maybe even bring a contractor if I could find somebody for you. I legally can't recommend a contractor to you, but
What,
we could give you some names and you could pick somebody and I could bring down and show
So
them what's going on.
you can also contact the Board of Health. We have a list. We don't recommend anyone. We give you a list of like, you know,
Licensed.
a dozen.
I wonder if we could just call and say we need a well line diagnosed and repaired,
right,
and then
Yeah.
hopefully.
and then you just need to ask us to withdraw without prejudice, if that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah, I don't think there's any benefit to us asking them to vote on it, you know, unless we were gonna get it to state superior court, which we're not, so.
Right, if you wanted to appeal it, you
Yeah,
would need
you'd want a formal
formal
denial,
vote,
so.
if that's
So I think at this point we request to withdraw our application.
without prejudice.
Thank you for your guidance.
All right, if you,
Thank you.
Jamie.
thank you.
I can't tell them any good people, but would you just step over there and maybe tell them two decent people?
You know some well?
Well, no, you just need an excavator. You don't even need a well guy. You just need an excavator that won't screw you.
All right, great, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank
George.
you. All right.
Illegal.
It's just funny how you thought.
I feel bad, but there's nothing we can really do.
Next on the agenda would be 74
Well, you-
Lakeside Ave. Meet with the Zenith Consulting Engineers to discuss requested variance and local upgrade approvals.
I just sent him in the
Jamie
hall.
just stepped out, so he'll be back in a second, so we have a couple of minutes. Jamie returns.
Is this community well the same thing down here?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
Oh,
so,
all right, so we just talked about that.
all right, so let's jump down to that. Seeing Jamie is outside, so we're gonna skip 74 Lakeside Ave. We'll just discuss number 6, Cedardale Community Well. Do we have anything else to discuss on the community well?
No, I think for tonight we hammered it out.
I mean,
well, just what we should do with,
309?
yeah, the number of people who either jumped off without telling us and have wells that are within, that should have needed a waiver and didn't. Should we start sending them letters or?
I would like to
Definitely.
send letters to everybody we think that is on that well.
I concur.
And see if we get a reply, send a registered letter to every single one of them,
Yeah.
so we can put it in the folder that, you know, how are you getting water and how you want it.
And just say, like I said, we're gonna send a letter. It had nothing to do with what the applicant said now. I had done all this research beforehand and I have a list of places, so they did not give any information that
Yeah, it wasn't-
would incriminate them.
And then if she has to go after them or do an easement, you know, it's better if the stuff came from us too to show that they were properly contacted.
Yeah.
So let's do that at least for her.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion, we send out a letter to, Ed sends out a letter to everybody that's connected to that well. If there's any individual ones like the one he just mentioned, to specifically, say that and then find out from all the other people what they're doing, what their intent is. Because if those other 4 houses don't have water, then
We have to continue.
we gotta condemn the houses if they don't have water and they're not gonna fix them.
Right.
One
Which
thing,
might get them to help kick in to fix it now too.
Ed, if there's an address for the association, maybe send that too, so everyone would.
Yeah.
So everyone would see it just in case, you never know what, maybe somebody else has something else to add to it, you never know, right?
Okay, you wanna,
You gonna
Second,
that?
so I'll second that.
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we'll jump back to number 3 on the agenda, 74 Lakeside Ave, meet with Zenith Consulting Engineers to discuss requested variance and local upgrade approval.
Is there, on the next 3 items, is there any way we can take Bill's Island Road so that he can head home and we can move on to the other 2 items, if the board's okay with that?
I'm fine
If
with
you're
that.
okay, I'm okay.
Okay, we're gonna, jump away from number 3 again on Lakeside Ave, and we're gonna go down to number 5, 15 Island Road, discuss installation of septic without inspections. And Jamie is here.
These are just, there's 10 photos that Bill had supplied us with of the installation of the system.
Okay, I'll look at them and I'll pass them down.
Yep.
I guess I gotta start off and ask, though, why didn't you call for any inspections?
There's a good explanation for it. Basically, the guy that used to run my entire excavation division came back. This was his first job, and I was working right next to him. He took the pictures. I should have called, I kind of took for granted he would have too, but I mean, he's on top of everything. He ran a crew for me for 10 years, and he just came back. This was his first system. So, it's totally my fault, but, we did take the pictures. I even have the, receipt for the septic sand to be tilled for the very beginning.
Jamie, were you guys able to do your as-built stuff during this process?
We were not notified, just like you guys weren't.
Okay.
So we're able to as-built, because this is a bottomless sand filter, this is kind of an easy one where we can take off the stone off of the pipes. There's only 3 inches of stone over it. And then we can access the inlets and outlets out of the tanks right from the covers. So fortunately, I think we're gonna be able to get enough to be able to do that. I'm not super concerned with that.
But you're not gonna be able to certify that there's X amount of inches of sand under it and all that stuff?
I can't, what I can do is, and one of the things that, if the board was okay proceeding forward, would be, I would want to auger down at least in the middle and confirm that. Now, I can tell you that when we were going through the initial process, Bill was fantastic in the fact that he sought out the sand, he got multiple samples from different places, paid to have them sieved. The first one failed from a place that guaranteed it would pass. Second place, he had to go to Rhode Island to get, and it worked, and it was expensive, but it was really good. He hired Atlantic Solutions to install the tanks. I think the tanks, I don't have a real concern with the tanks. Atlantic is meticulous. So the tanks we're good with. I'm comfortable with. The BSF, I saw the pictures. It looks like they did a nice job of construction. I would just want to auger down so I can write the confirmation. If we bump into anything abnormal, then I would tell Bill that it would need to be ripped up and changed. But if it's based on what Bill's telling me, we're not gonna find that.
And I even went to the extreme, like on the outside, they say put pressure treated rots. It tells you to put the nails in it when you take the class, you know, and what that does is it perforates the liner going around. So eventually when it rots, you run the risk of it leaking. I mean, we sealed the thing, we took the time and put stakes in and filled it slowly so it came up, and it's never gonna be perforated. So you're never gonna have any leakage on the side.
When, did you take your certification?
This year.
Okay, you have a card, did you
Yeah.
add the information when the class was taken and
Yep.
when this was supposedly installed?
That's right there. I was gonna do it in Marvin, but I had to pass. I went and took the test.
So you were on site with the installer at the time?
Yes. Yep. That's why it's totally my fault, because I should have picked it up. And the thing was, we started this septic system and the water table was so high, I had to abandon it. We had to walk away for 3 months, and the guys I had quit at the time because there was so much mud. So,
Okay. And do you know when those pictures were taken? Are those time dated, stamped or anything? Do we have any date? When?
those are like, what, couple days before you guys came?
We did. So
Are these pictures on your phone? Because your phone would tell you the day and the time that you took them.
They're not from me, they're from my guy.
Okay.
So I don't know.
If you can email them to us, maybe we can see the date on them.
Okay, I can do that.
We did,
Because this certificate's for June 5th. It's one,
Right.
awarded, June 12th, so I just want to make sure.
Right, that's what I took
That
my
wasn't
time.
installed prior to June 12th. That's the
No,
reason
it
I'm
was,
questioning.
it wasn't installed prior to June 12th.
Just to
That
make
was
sure
after.
everything's, you took the class before.
I took the class
and-
before, yeah.
I was on site for the startup. I'm sorry, if I wasn't, oh, okay. I was on site for the startup. I brought Will from my office. Atlantic Solutions was there. I was actually really surprised not to see you there. And it kind of dawned on me after when you said you never did one of the inspections, because you and I always do those together.
Yeah, we used to do it, yeah.
And then, yeah, and so that, it was just, but we did see the startup, everything tested nice. As far as the startup, I checked the distilled heads. I took photos from that inspection, I always do, I can provide those. But the startup was good, I think you got a contract.
Yep.
And you also have, I think he has the startup report as well from Atlantic Solutions.
Yep.
And what was the reason for not calling? I mean, you've installed in Lakeville before, so you're an
Yeah.
installer, you know.
Yeah, it's never happened to me before.
Okay.
It was one of those things,
Stop.
what happened is, we started the thing months ago, had to abandon it, went back. Then Jamie and Atlantic were going back and forth with different design solutions.
Alex, yeah.
So we got stuck for like a month because we were going back and forth because they had a different idea and Jamie wanted to do the calculations and going back and forth. So it sat for another month. And then we got back, we got in there and it's totally my fault. And Mike was smart enough to take pictures because he worked with me, but it's my fault. I mean, it's the only time this has ever happened to me. It's my fault.
Just out of curious, when you said it sat, what stage were you at when it sat? Did you just scrape off the topsoil and it sat, or did you start building the wall?
Well, the first time we attempted to dig the hole for the septic tank, and if I would remember correctly, the water table was 1.5 feet above the septic tank top.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, I tried bracing the house off, bracing everything off, just had to abandon it for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months. And then when we came back, we set the tank and Atlantic came down, they were gonna put their stuff in. And then I think they put it in, but then they had a different idea on the pump and the diameter of the pipes. So they were going back and forth with Jamie on that. So then that was another month that we walked away from it. So because we wanted to do it right. I mean, the thing is, I've never ever had a problem with the septic system. I got my first installer's license in Lakeville in 1985. I've never had a system anywhere ever fail or not work. So I like to keep it that way.
So
And
it
that's
sounds
why-
like though the first couple of times you went there, then you didn't have your new license for the septic system yet. If it sat all those months and you didn't get your license until June.
Right, I had taken the class, but I hadn't taken the final exam, and Jim Arney was gonna do it with me.
Okay.
The only question I have on the pictures, I don't know if Jamie, you can clarify on, why is there stone at the base of this system? I think it's, installed bottomless sand also. And it's just pretty specific. You're supposed to till the bottom of the material in.
Yep, I have that receipt right here with septic sand, and then the crushed
This
stone
one is
over it.
baffling to me. Why is there stone on the bottom of that system?
That's the second layer. I have this, here's the receipt for the stone and the sand right here.
Cause that looks like the base of the wall. Am I missing? I can't picture where that is.
You till this gets tilled in first, and then the crushed stone goes on top of it. And then
Are you,
you put in the special
Cause this all looks
super duper
nice.
sand.
This looks down before the wall's in, correct? So that's like almost the open hole.
Yes, this is way down, and underneath this is where the septic sand is tilled into the original soil.
What's that stone doing there? Why? There isn't supposed to be any stone down there. Why
So-
is that down there?
the only thing, if this was stone that you set your, retaining wall block on,
Yeah,
and then you took out what was in the middle,
yeah.
so it was just sand, then I could see that. But if this is under the whole bed, then that is a problem.
Okay.
Could pick up.
I mean, was that just there for some, I don't see it anywhere else, but there shouldn't be stone down
If
in
you
the
run an
bottom.
auger, you're gonna hit it.
Oh,
if the stone
100%.
That's supposed to be tilled with
Yeah.
Title V sand, and they're pretty specific in the
That's the-
installation of it. They want that tilling.
100%. Yeah.
It's a very important part on the bottomless sand.
If that's there, then yeah, we would have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I can do is I can knead Ed, if the board's okay with it, knead Ed, I have a Dutch auger by hand, and we can take and you and I can auger.
How deep is that, right, that stone?
It looks like it's the bottom base of the blocks
It's
to
more
me.
than 3 feet.
And your auger will go
Oh,
down?
yeah, yep.
Not very high, because it's just up to the covers on one of these pictures. The wall's only, what, like 2 blocks out of the ground? It's only 3
actually not that
blocks.
high, yeah.
Okay.
I just don't know where that is, because, again, am I missing anything, Jamie? There's no
That is a
stone in the
catch.
bottom.
No, that would be.
It's
the-
Title V sand you till, and there's a big procedure in
I looked
it,
at it quick and thought it was where one of the tanks was going in.
Yeah, see. so
where
for
you're supposed to
example,
till it.
That should be stone at the end, that makes sense. I'm wondering if you guys took,
You
built the
know
wall
what?
and then.
He pushed, all I can think of is that he pushed it over to put the block
On.
on this and then took this and filled on the block with it.
If he did that.
That
then
must
we're
be
good.
what it is.
We'll know once we auger. That would be, I would agree, that we need to
Good.
confirm.
That it was
Because
tilled.
it was set on a stone base, I remember that.
The blocks usually
The
are,
block should-
Yeah,
correct.
and then he filled it all, and then we had to, I know the system was, I know he had to fill a little more on one side to get the exact size of inside the block.
Yeah, that'd be the only reason I can understand. There'd be no reason to put the stone down there and then put, you know.
Well, you shouldn't have the
above.
stone under there, because it affects the treatment down below and
Yeah, it's
to the
just-
water table, right? Doesn't affect,
It just doesn't make sense.
That must have been what he did.
right? I mean, the tilling in
Oh, well, the tilling in would have actually happened before this.
before that.
Before this, it should have been, because you can see the sand here and you can kind of see what is the organic on the side.
Okay.
So this would have already been tilled in underneath here.
So they tilled in underneath and then for
Yep.
some reason spread
Exactly.
stone?
That's what it looks like.
Because I don't see it anywhere else. Everything looks perfect. I mean, I agree, everything looks good. I just, that is, I mean, you're the engineer and Ed is, I don't think that would affect the system function,
Yeah,
correct?
it would definitely.
Yeah, no, if it's
Because now you
there.
have a layer of stone where you're not supposed to. You're supposed to be treating with sand.
Mhm.
Special sand,
Yeah.
not just.
Yeah, if that's there, then I couldn't justify it. We'd have to take that out. So, but I think if Bill's right and they move that out and we get nice clean sand all the way down and Ed and I are comfortable, I'll auger as many holes as Ed wants.
So you wanna continue this to our next meeting, and you guys can go auger it, and then we can come back and talk about what you find? Does
Yes, please.
that work for you guys?
Yeah, I mean,
That
if we
sounds
can,
good to me.
Are
I
you gonna do it before the next meeting,
Yes.
in the next 2 weeks?
don't want to,
Yes.
especially, but this is a flip, not, this is a flip, right? This,
Right.
you're selling this,
Yeah, I'm
and
not
this is gonna be
living there.
turned on to somebody else.
Yeah, we can
And
do this. This
you
is,
know.
2 weeks is the next meeting.
Yes,
So yeah, if you
2 weeks,
guys
yeah.
can continue us for 2 weeks, we'll get
What's the
that
date
done.
of it?
goes to November 6th, I believe is a Wednesday.
Let's see here.
My math is right.
It'll be 3 weeks. Yeah, the 6th, the first meeting is in the 6th, so that'll be, we get the 23rd and the 30th still left in this month, so. The
Yeah.
6th
3
is the next
weeks.
meeting, so you'll have 3 weeks to do it.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
unless you need it, are you closing? Is this going in the is this gonna hold you? up?
No,
I
it's
mean,
not gonna close, it's not
I'm
gonna,
okay.
we're not closing any time before then, so.
Yeah, so if we hit a stone layer, then he's just gonna fix it. If we don't hit the stone layer, Ned and I are satisfied, then we'll come back and present our findings and the board can make their decision.
Right.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I've used Atlantic too, I agree with you. They do an excellent job. They supplied all the pipe pre-drilled when I used them. They were excellent. They
Yeah,
sealed
first time I've
everything.
ever used them.
I've
they
used
were
them once and
fantastic.
I would stand behind. They did
Oh,
an
yeah.
excellent job, so.
They did that one I did too, I think, right?
Atlantic.
That one I did down at the shores?
Yes,
Yeah, they did a good job.
yeah, they come.
And all the work looks clean and neat. And
It's just,
if it wasn't for that stone, I'd be fine
that
with it.
is just,
Yeah,
Yeah, good catch.
that's a good catch. I'm not familiar with any of those systems. I've never
Supposed to be
seen one when
tilled
I
in
was,
sand,
when I was working in the
sand,
private sector. I never saw one installed.
I
So I was
didn't
gonna take the training at some point just because for my continuing
It's
ed.
pretty fascinating.
It's pretty cool
interesting.
and everything looked great up and I wouldn't have caught that.
and where's the media sand? How deep is media sand?
24 inches.
24 inches, so this is in the media sand,
That would be, I'm guessing that would be right at the base of the media sand.
which is supposed to be Title V sand, not stone.
Correct.
like he has underneath this.
That's my understanding, yes.
Hopefully it was just set there and they did the wall and,
Yeah. I'll bring a post hole digger and a
I'm
shovel too,
fine.
just in case.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion, we continue this till November 6th so that Ed and Jamie have time to investigate if that stone, layer of stone is there, and then come back and discuss it at that time.
Thank you.
one other thing on that, you didn't do the startup? You didn't watch the
No, I
pump
didn't do
run?
that either, no.
You did, Jamie?
I did.
Are you-
I witnessed the startup. I think I have pictures and I probably have videos. I usually like to take videos, but if you want, we can call in Atlantic and ask them to come back up.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
What-
you're just firing up the pumps and everything, so that's not a big deal to redo.
Do you want to see that? So you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
actually-
definitely.
So we want to see,
Yeah.
Are
We've
you okay
looked
with
at-
me starting it up for you?
What's that?
Are you okay with me starting it up for you?
Yeah.
Or do you want Atlantic there? I'm okay either way. I just,
No, I don't think we need Atlantic. If they set it up the way they wanted to, I trust that they
They
did it
did.
right, and then we'll just gonna.
But I wouldn't do that until after you dig the holes.
No,
because
100%.
Then you might have to do it again.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank
we'll see
you.
We'll see you on the 6th.
All right, I'll second Bob's motion.
Okay.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we'll get to 74 Lakeside.
All right. Let's do a lot of stuff. He's got his receipt. I'm gonna turn the receipts over to you, Ed, just so we don't lose them on this last one. With the pictures and
Yeah, everything,
Everything.
just put it all in the same
that
file.
goes, continue for the next meeting. All right, so we're going back to number 3 on the agenda, 74 Lakeside Avenue. Meet with Zenith Consulting Engineers to discuss requested variance and local upgrade approvals.
Good evening, Jamie Bissonette, Zenith Consulting Engineers. 74 Lakeside Ave, it's a small, one-bedroom cottage. Full disclosure, we're going in front of conservation and we plan on filing with the zoning board of appeals. I spoke with Nate. They are gonna be putting on a small addition to the rear, and making some renovations, including they're looking to elevate the house, with helical piles. I think I sent you the plans for those as well, right,
Yeah.
Ed? They had a structural Bob DeRosa design a helical pile foundation. That way, the floodplain, they're not worried about compensatory storage. The bedrooms don't change, the use isn't gonna change as far as the number of bedrooms or design flow out of the house. They're still keeping it a one bedroom. We met with Ed and the owners, a while back and that was, we made that very clear. This has a new leaching field up in the back, beyond the 400 feet from the pond. We're here tonight mostly because of the tanks. The tanks are gonna be next to the house, which is less than 400 feet to the pond. So we have a tank and a pump chamber. I believe we also have inverts that we're dealing with for waivers as well. So we're hoping that the board, looks at it, at this, the way that we do, which is, we're improving the site with the new
Probably
new
underneath the
design.
addition.
And,
Or no, it's on the side. So they're right.
and hoping you
Right
guys
here.
will approve. If you got any
Field is
questions,
right
I'm
here.
happy to try to answer them.
So this is a one bedroom, it's gonna be deed restricted as one bedroom.
It's gonna have to be,
Yeah,
yes.
I'll see it.
Yep.
Okay. And, there didn't show an existing well, they had nothing on file. Did they pump out of the pond or was it an existing well?
I believe it pumps out of the pond.
That's what
Yeah,
I was thinking, because there was no well to decommission or anything we have to worry about on that.
not that I'm aware of. I'd be okay with a conditional that if there is one found, that it needs to be properly decommissioned.
All right, I didn't see deed restriction on here anywhere, but it's gonna be deed restricted one bedroom,
Yes, that, yeah, absolutely.
because it's normally, isn't that one of our,
Yeah, he does have it on.
up there somewhere?
Yeah, in the design calc, pretty much in the center, under the leach field,
Okay.
under the D box. Yeah.
Calc estimated deed restriction, Title V minimum, all right.
So Title V makes us
Title
design
V
for a
minimum.
two-bedroom minimum under the deed restriction.
That's my question.
Right,
But
you-
it's
but you
deed
still,
restricted for use of a one.
yeah, so you have to get the deed restriction for one, but you designed for two.
Correct, yeah, so, and I explained this to one of the newer guys today, which is, DEP, when they give you these minimums, like they do with office,
Yep.
they say you have to use 200 gallons per day as a minimum for office, even though it's 75 gallons per 1,000 square feet. So if you open a 1,000 square foot office, you'd think, oh, I can have a 75 gallon a day system, but DEP says, no, you need a 200 gallon a day system. I believe what they feel is that that small of a system just will not work properly, knowing what they know. So the bigger size is representative of what's needed to function properly.
Okay, so where it says use design flow of 220 gallons per day, Title
Yes.
V minimum deed restriction required, but you're saying the minimum is 2. We don't want, this is gonna be a 1-bedroom deed restriction.
It's a 1-bedroom, so Title V says you should be designing for 3, but it has double asterisks after it, and it says you can design for a 2-bedroom minimum if you deed restrict. It doesn't have a provision to design for a 1-bedroom.
Oh,
So
you
the-
can deed restrict to a 1-bedroom,
This is
even though.
definitely gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
deed restricted for 1,
Yes.
No, we can do that.
yes.
Okay, that,
It's just the size
want-
of the field is designed
Which is
for
fine,
2,
I'm
but
fine.
it's really a 1-bedroom house.
as
not
long
gonna
as you
change.
don't, we're not increasing flow.
Correct.
Okay. Existing well location, deed restriction. You don't, so you're gonna call for the 6-inch wall thickness tanks on here? I don't, so a lot of your plans, you actually put commercial under this here, where they make different H20 tanks. Are you calling for commercial tanks? Is that your buoyancy count? Because it doesn't say commercial.
No,
It doesn't show wall thickness.
So yeah, no, we're using, and some of these we've talked with some of the manufacturers who are starting to tell us that the 4 and the 5 inch will stand up to the hydrostatic pressure. So we're still using H20, but they're not always commercial. What we do now is if the precast company is okay with it and will warranty the product, then what we do is we look for depth of bury and check the buoyancy calcs that way as well. So we're still using H20,
Yeah.
but they're not always commercial rated.
So so you're not calling out walls, so it's up to the contractor to put in whatever they can get for an H20 and,
No, we're putting in a model specified
yeah.
there. And so with the model specified, what we're saying, we're approved equal, meaning if they're not gonna put in that exact model, they need to call us and get it approved. What happens is sometimes we do show up on these job sites when we're as-builting it, we notice that it's an inferior tank and we have had them rip it out. Or they've had to make adjustments, which we'd contact the health agent about. We've had slabs poured on top. On some of them, we've had stupid little humps, to meet buoyancy. There's been a couple of scenarios.
So that model number is what that commercial grade would be.
You would,
Okay.
well, it's not a commercial grade,
Oh,
that
would-
one's just H20, but yeah, there's a cut sheet that goes along with that model number, so if you
Yeah.
called, in particular here,
Gotcha.
Shay, they would say, yes, we know that exact tank, it's like the model of a car.
And you wouldn't want a commercial, the thickest, heaviest duty one you wanted here, where you got 4 feet of cover over this tank and the depth fully underwater?
Well, it's not a bad idea to have. You know me, I'm a big proponent of the commercial tanks. We do get a
I
lot
am
of
too.
complaints by
There's a
them,
big difference.
because of the cost and the weight. But yeah, it's not a bad idea. We're not opposed if the board would like that to be the case, I'll revise it and put the commercial.
I
tanks.
just,
It's
I'm
right at
worried
the end
about-
of the drive too, so you.
like, bottom of a hill,
But the drive ends right there, so they could very well be parking on top of them, so it's probably not a bad idea.
right, and just that extra thickness of wall, because
Sure.
a lot of concrete, you know what I mean, it's tough to seal them, so if it's 4-inch, they don't make a 6-inch wall on the 1,000, they make a 4 and a 5.
On the 1,000.
On the 1,000.
They,
I don't believe they make a 6.
I think you're right. They
don't.
make a commercial 1,000.
It's 5-inch wall
It's a
thickness.
5-inch wall. They make a 4 and a 5, and they have the thickness on the top. But the tank in 1,500, they do a 6.
They do a 6 in the
Yes.
1,500.
Yeah.
And the 1,500, I mean, you don't want it to leak, obviously, because of the water right there, but it's always full.
Yep.
But the pump tank's always empty.
No, I agree. The pump tanks
So
are where we
it's-
worry about the
I'm worried
cracking from the
about
pressure.
the pressure where it's empty and you don't have an extra inch of concrete makes,
Yep.
it's quite a difference. I mean,
Well, I'm okay with the continuance, and I'll make the change to the plan. My only request would be, if this is the only change, that I don't, unless I'm here, I don't have to come to the next
No, I'm
meeting.
ready to
Yeah,
approve it now,
no,
just
we wouldn't do
the
a
same
continuance.
change it to commercial.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay
Um,
with that.
To decommission the 5 you asked for, decommission the existing well, deed restrict to 1 bedroom, and change the H20 tanks to commercial.
And then on the covers, the water is actually over the top of the tank by 6 inches. I know we've had some of these come in front of us. Are you trying to get them to do a monolithic pour with a riser coming in? You're gonna have 4 feet of riser to get into that pump tank through a 20-inch hole. How do you, what are you thinking on that to get down into them pumps? Because you bury them, you're actually a variance for depth of cover on that. And that's the deepest cover is right over that pump tank. You're not calling for a hatch.
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't want a hatch in this case. I would prefer a bolted gasketed cover.
Maybe you should just do like a 30-inch or something bigger to get down that 3.5 feet, or are you just gonna try to go? It's not on a rail
Yeah, 'cause it's
system.
not on a rail system, and
So
it
you-
is.
you
and it
have
is
to
a
get in the
bigger
tank.
pump. It is a bigger pump.
It's a 3-inch pump,
Mhm.
and so it's heavier. I'm
So
just, how are you
if-
sealing it?
If we put in the rail system, we're gonna have perforations in the riser.
Yeah, and I'm not a
For
big
the
fan of the
bolts.
rail system.
So I don't like the perforations in the riser. So if we go with a larger manhole sitting on top of the tank,
Because you actually have to get down in it.
yeah, you have to stand down on the tank itself to then be able to pull that out.
Correct,
Or-
I've done it that way, but that's tough to seal. I put a manhole, I think it was on your job, so I've done the manhole, but
Yes.
on this one, how would you seal that manhole to the top of the tank?
What if
Especially
we,
where you're above water table.
what if we took and I changed the detail and show the pipe coming up towards the top and taking and doing a U?
That's what some installers do.
Yeah, and we put the drain at the bottom where it comes in, so that'll drain down still. And then we'll put a chain, and we'll spec a chain right up to underneath the cover.
Now, to making that 90, is that gonna restrict the flow of that 3-inch all the way up the hill with that pump count? Because now
It
you,
depends where you put the check valve.
okay.
Oh, wait, will that restrict the flow going up to the, no.
Well,
And
you're coming up and you're making a 90, you're coming back down on a 90,
It's-
it's not gonna,
It's less than a
Not that
foot
much,
of, yeah, less than a foot of friction on the total head.
I've seen what you're talking about. I've
Yes.
never done it that way, but I know a contractor that does it every time.
Yeah, no,
You open
that-
the riser and there's a union right there, so you can just pull the
Exactly,
pump
right
up.
up at the top, we can put it right up at the top, so you can undo the union and you grab the chain and pull it right up. And that way they don't have to get down inside. So I'll make that change as well.
Now, we worried where this tank is located and this driveway is, doing plastic covers? Cause that's that plastic riser. Or you're gonna do plastic covers and you're fine with it? Someone comes down that and pushes to the left with a plow
We really-
truck, or,
We really weren't concerned with it, just based on the location, that I don't think they're really gonna be able to turn, but I'm also,
it's just tough to seal. I know they pour that collar in the
oh,
top.
100%.
So
And
it's
those are not
beautiful.
rated for tires.
Correct, so you just worried about,
I like the seal of the
I
plastic
do
more than
too.
the metal.
it seals, it's
What
90
if,
days.
what if I talk to them about putting a couple of stones on the side? Or some kind of an object that protects you from being able to back over a plow on top of those covers? Cause I'd prefer the plastic ones for the water tightness.
Yeah, I mean, it's off the driveway. I mean,
It
you
is
can't-
off the driveway.
Tanks are always right off the driveway.
All right,
So, I
I'll-
mean, I don't,
Yeah.
I was just, the riser in the tank, and then the last one,
Mhm.
which is kind of critical to me, I know some engineers do it this way, but the retaining wall designed by others, you don't show top of wall, anything, you just show round circles, but you got a 6-foot drop, almost from top of your system at 100 down to that top of wall at, even if you go to 96, you get a 4-foot drop and then a drop to the ground. I mean, that's actually structural part of the septic. I mean, I just,
Our wall itself shouldn't be, in any case, more
96
than,
is what it's showing, and you got a 94 contour lower.
yeah.
But isn't that structural part of the septic? I mean, you can't just throw rocks there and,
You actually, you can put stones, stack stones, as long as they're structurally stable. I think the tallest part of that wall is 3 feet.
down the lower end.
Yeah, and so it'll have a liner on the backside, so you could use boulders, and I think that was the intent of
Your
showing
line, your
it.
line is 5 feet off the
It
thing,
is.
right? So it's not, your liner really won't be touching the wall.
Not even close, yeah,
Yeah.
you still have another 8 feet or so till from the liner to the wall. So you can put in some large rocks, and I don't think that it's not 6 feet, it's more like the height of this table.
Yeah, the 97's kind of like on top of the wall, so you're like 3 down and then 3 to the
Yeah, so
grade.
it's dropping 3 from the top of the field to the
Yeah.
top
So
of the
like the
wall.
middle of the field's
Right.
gonna be
So
100,
you
and then it's gonna
press it.
taper down 3
It
and
is.
then drop 3.
But you gotta remember, that's not really a load on the wall itself. So it's going down, just like a tapered hill, and then you've got the stone. But I do understand the concern. I actually don't even really think there's a need for a design by a professional. That's kind of something a landscaper or an earth construction person will do. I mean, I have a few at my house that weren't designed. Just stones placed, on a terraced slope.
Usually if it's under 4 feet, we
Yeah.
don't really.
No, we wouldn't need a structural, but it's just, I guess, just from my point, it's tough to go out to have Ed go out and look at it and go, well, I'm not gonna approve this, because it just says designed by others. It doesn't show you ready rock, it doesn't show you, and you're going right to the property line where you've got to slope it from 100 down to 94 at the property line to 96. You got a 6-foot slope to stop any runoff going onto them neighbors' yards.
Yeah.
If you just throw some rocks there and you get gaps between rocks, don't fit together. Unless you got quarry stone that was squared and blasted. And
Yeah, it's you usually don't see
I've
that,
tried to
yeah.
do rock walls.
Yeah.
I just, where you got that slope to get the water and dirt not washing between it onto your neighbor's property, where it's right on the, I don't, it's just a
Yeah.
thought, I don't.
It is close to the property line, definitely.
You're right
it's
on the property
definitely-
line.
Yeah.
So if you were further away and you weren't on your property line, maybe it wouldn't matter if it ran through and,
So
but,
the driveway is gonna stop a lot of that too on that side.
so obviously they were just trying to stop the cost of that 70-foot wall and 80-foot wall of an actual ready rock, correct made wall.
I'm sorry.
They're just trying to get rid of the cost of doing an actual retaining wall.
Well,
of
yeah, I
ready
mean,
rock.
what we do is we try to value engineer, with things like this to not break budgets. And they may bring in a block, that they find aesthetically pleasing, but technically with the code where it's under 4 feet, we do these stones in place all the time. When they're over 4 feet, we have had structural stamped stone walls. I can recall one that I had to do in a cushion it. But for the most part, when we get 4 feet or over, we go with a block.
I guess the only thing then, if other members are okay with leaving just that without a design, I would just like a top of wall on the plan,
Sure.
just so
Yep.
Ed goes out and we know they didn't just throw some 6-inch stones down at the bottom of this base, because it doesn't give a grade. It's very vague. It should say top of wall at 96, a top of wall at 97, and you need rocks to that grade.
Sure.
Or Ed's gonna go, this is wrong.
Yep, no, not a problem.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I can make that very clear. It'll be, yeah, well,
so it's clear to the installer and
not a
they need
problem.
a wall top. I mean,
No, it makes sense to me, like the way you're saying it, cause yeah,
it doesn't.
we're so used to looking at stuff that sometimes we just
And I'm used to
kinda-
putting it in going, I could just throw a
Yeah, I wish
6-inch
I
rock there.
had this information. No, that's not a problem. So we're gonna go commercial tanks. I'm gonna change I'll bring to put the union up top with the U in the pump tank, and we'll
So you
put the
don't
chain
get
up to the top, and I'll add a top of wall elevation to the plan.
You guys good?
Yeah,
I'll make a motion that we approve the subsurface sewage disposal system for 74 Lakeside Ave with the 5 variances, and shown, as well as adding decommission of any existing well, a deed restriction for a 1-bedroom. We're gonna change the H20 tank to commercial. We're gonna add unions to change the pump, and we're gonna add a top of wall elevation.
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I'm gonna run.
Yep, okay, we'll take a short break for a couple minutes, because we still got a couple more things on the agenda. Okay, next on the agenda, 4 Wildwood, meet with Zenith Consulting Engineers to discuss requested local upgrade approvals. Jamie, back to you again.
All right. Well, good evening. Jamie Bissonette, Zenith Consulting Engineers. We're in front of you for Wildwood. This is a septic repair. This plan was previously presented and approved by the board. We have revisions, which we have in front of you tonight. I was presenting this at a conservation hearing a few months back, and one of the abutters stood up and said that they were tied into the well that is on site. Our client was unaware, and so we asked for a continuance and investigated. My understanding is that the client doesn't have a record, and his attorney can't find a record of there being a legal means for them to be tied in. But that being said, they didn't want to pick a battle, so we re-perked with Ed, found some nice material, but we sieved it and redesigned the system to the place as shown on this plan, and did an advanced treatment system taking account for a 50% reduction. That being said, there's a few variants or local upgrades that are needed. One is the setback to the wetlands. Another is setback to a well, and some other typical local upgrade, meaning setbacks, and we're also reducing the size by the 50%. I guess I'm happy to I think there might be some discussion on this one, so I'm happy to try to entertain any questions that.
Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to, again, figure out what happened on this lot. So, from what I've been told, correct me if anything is different, this was one piece of property that a developer had bought. 1 and 4 were one piece, the garage was across the street, and the house was on one. And they had that well into both, am I correct on that? So
My understanding is that is correct.
and then they did a Title V, they turned into us on one Wildwood, showing the well across the street, because it was all one piece of property, and we accepted the Title V at the time, because they didn't need a new system, because we would have made them tie into the water system then, because it's on the property,
Okay,
right? There's water on both these properties?
I don't know.
Okay, I can clarify with Ed on that one. So you're looking, you're not using this well for Wildwood?
No.
So you're
So-
tied into the community water, year-round water?
Yes, my understanding is that we're tied into the water
Okay.
source.
So we have,
Here.
I'll check with Ed, but he can clarify, there is a stub on one Wildwood already there to tie into.
Okay,
So the developer gave us a past Title V, because we would have, like I said, we would have made that well go away if one Wildwood needed a septic. Because
Okay.
we wouldn't have let him leave it there.
Mhm.
We would have said tie in, but he passed Title V into us, showing a well, pre-existing.
Yeah, we
It
can do
passed.
this. Yep,
After that, he divided these lots into two and sold them to two different people,
okay.
from what I've been told. So-
That sounds right, but I'm not,
So now,
yes.
the one he sold it to on number 4 didn't even know that well was tied into the number 1. And number 1 didn't know, I guess, when they bought it, that their well was over on number 4 without even any type of deed restriction where the well was going.
That all sounds correct. Again, I'm putting bits and pieces because when I presented it, when it was presented to our client, he was unaware of the well situation. I don't think he would have moved forward as we had with the previous plan if he was aware of it.
I believe at the conservation meeting, there was discussion from some of the people there that this was just a garage. It was never a bedroom. It was never a house, but from Ed, from where we looked, it was a house with a kitchen and a cesspool and a well, even though it'd been used for a garage for the past
Used as a wood shop, I believe.
wood shop.
Yeah, so there was never a vehicle or anything in there, it's elevated. So it has a block foundation. And, the owner of, one Wildwood, just, would use it as his wood shop, which it wasn't, zoned for a wood shop or any type of commercial thing. It was always, like a 1-bedroom cottage. And then he just turned it into a workshop of his own, but without actually any permission to do so.
But through the assessors and what we have on file, it was a 1-bedroom cottage.
Any
So,
history of septic or anything, sewage treatment on the?
There's visibly,
cesspool.
no. I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find any plumbing and anything, but there was, did I give it to you earlier? The old assessor's card that said it had septic and water.
Yeah, I believe you have it, but on the
Yeah,
assessors,
so
it's
it
checked
probably
off as
says-
septic
Yeah,
and
and
water.
they call it a one-room cottage, so
Yeah.
the whole thing was one room, it wasn't
So,
really.
so I agree, this is a lot where it was divided off and it did have a well and a septic on it, and they're tying into the water. The problem I have now is this well, what authority we have to make one Wildwood tie into the shut off that's right in front, because instead of, you shouldn't be giving that variance when you have a water shut off. I just don't know what authority we have without going to town council and getting a legal opinion. If we have the authority to tell them they have to decommission this well, and, because they're going without water, so I don't know what authority we have.
Who's going without water?
One Wildwood would be without water
If we disconnected the well?
if disconnected the well because of this variance where they have a water shut off. But, so if they ever redo the septic at One Wildwood, obviously that well's gone, they're tying in, but I just don't know if we have the authority. And where this is pre-existing, there's something already there, I mean, you can't just say no to the septic repair upgrade, I don't think, in my opinion.
Do we have records of this well?
Testing?
Anything, any record, like when it
Yeah.
was installed, like a history, we got a history on it, right?
We don't have the well permit, that was
Is there
issued.
deeds that show the shared well stuff? Like, do we have any history at all?
There's nothing like that, but when they did the Title V, they did do, there's been two Title Vs, I think one back in 2016, I think Darren actually did that one, and then, Bob Bucher did one about, a year or two ago. And both of them, they did the well test, and they used that well from, Fort Wildwood as the source of their water, and they tested that well.
But when you divide the lots at the minimum, they should have showed an easement for the water to the other lot that the well's not on, which I'm assuming they don't have.
Yeah, I don't think they did an easement because they just assumed that, they extended the Clark Shores water line
Yeah.
to hook both of those in. So they never, I think the developer never intended to use that well. He wanted to get rid of that well because that way he could get a septic on it and get an extra lot out of it. Where he didn't think he could get an extra lot out of it if that well was there because it was right in the center of the lot, made it really different. So since he also extended the water for like 3 other lots as well. And so he extended the water and got 5 lots out of it. That was the reason he did it, for obviously financial reasons. So to go that extra 20 or 30 feet for number one wasn't really a cost to him. So he extended it. They put T's both to 1 and 4 Wildwood, and that was the intent. Okay, they're going to be on Clark Shores year-round water. There's no need for a well, and that way you can put your septics anywhere. I think that was his intent. But unfortunately, he didn't tell that to the owner of 1 Wildwood that he would have to hook in.
Prior to him selling it, he didn't hook it in where he should have.
Correct. Yeah, he should have hooked it in.
He sold them both separately
Yeah.
and
but-
walked away.
Yeah. But that was, I think that was the developer's intent, but somewhere it just wasn't communicated. Whether that was for financial reasons or it just got missed, I don't know. But like I said, it's cheaper to have a well, definitely. The Clark Shores water is expensive to pay year round. So you're paying over $2,000 a year now for water. So rather than having a well, which is considerably cheaper. So I understand why the owner of 1 does not want to hook in. But I think that was the intent of the developer, to just hook them in. And then,
Is it a shallow well too, I'm guessing?
no, I don't believe so. I mean, I don't know the depth because there wasn't a well permit, but it's, I think it's a casing and everything.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, looks like a decent well.
Let's say if it was worth abandoning it, when you move the system out front, you're still outside the well over here, you don't have to, maybe not need the advanced treatment.
Well, that
you
was
know.
the original plan.
Yeah.
We had that. And that's why
Yeah.
instead of fighting, the property owner of 4 just said, listen, we'll repark it and we'll do this.
Now, was the owner of lot 1 Wildwood notified for this meeting or anything about this?
He was for conservation. I don't know. We don't have to notify him for this meeting.
So he wasn't notified that we're discussing his well on that lot.
Yeah. In conservation, you have to notify all the, everyone around you. Whereas in this one, we only have to do it if it's a,
Yeah, and I gave you the cards, so I don't have them anymore as to who we notified.
no, you did not notify.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a tough, I mean, this well, they should be tied in. I just don't, unless anybody else.
Oh, no, you
wants to
did.
They were notified?
Yeah, one well, did. Yeah, you did notify. Sorry.
So obviously I don't see them here, so they're not here for the meeting. It's a tough question. I don't know
Well,
what,
let's continue that part and ask town council until the next
do you
meeting.
wanna,
I
second
think
put
we
that?
should, because, yeah. Because if not, there's no easement for it or anything to go across the other property if something ever happens, right?
Yeah, you should have
Jamie's
done
saying
that.
there's nothing on
We-
file for an easement on this property of this well.
So our client talked with his counsel, who said that they can't find any document giving them the shared access or easement or anything.
Chris, any? I just don't know if we can legally,
Nothing surprises me anymore.
But when they
Sorry to
divided it
giggle.
and they got the 5 lots, you gotta have potable water for every lot. And they obviously didn't connect up to this one, or they wouldn't have been able to divide them without having this.
right, that was their intention.
Yeah.
He didn't do it, sold it to other people now, so now it's passed on to somebody else's problem that they knew nothing about. And I just don't know legally if we could tell them you have to hook in, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
Well, if we
the-
do, I mean, whoever closed it and the guy got title insurance from can go after the seller, I guess, for some type of settlement for it. But I'd like to ask town council before I make any decision on that part of it.
I'm the same before I make a vote on it.
Sounds good to me.
We have 3 weeks. Hopefully we'll hear back from town council within 3 weeks on what
Yeah, no,
our
that's-
option is, because he might, they might just say you have to, it is what it is. but
Sure.
It's there and you can't tell them, they're not the one here asking for this variance.
Correct.
And I don't see how we can deny, can ask them that, at how you'd be able to deny this property that variance where they had a septic
Mhm.
already on it and a well. You just can't say you can't do it.
So this lot tonight has the well on it?
Yes.
Lot 4 has the well. Didn't even know it was tied
Okay,
into
and
one.
one doesn't have an easement to use any of that water.
No.
So
So
that guy
do I.
could just shut it off, I think, right?
You could.
He'd shut it off and then he'd have to hook up to it.
He could, definitely. Yeah, the owner could, but,
But I don't,
Well, is it the same owner that divided them up?
No.
no, the developer sold both lots to
Two different
two
people?
different individuals.
Of course he did.
and now it's on the different people. One didn't know that well went over there and the other one didn't know that well went over there.
Yeah.
And that's where that water was coming from.
That's what I understand is neither one of them knew.
Um,
Little
And we had
phrase,
nothing in lot
due
1
diligence.
to tie in on that Title
Right.
5 when they passed the Title 5 in, correct?
Yeah, at the
Nothing-
time of the Title V, it was still one lot.
It was one lot, so we
yeah,
had no
so-
reason to
To question it.
question it, deny the Title 5, turn it, because it was divided after he turned it in.
Yeah, and we didn't do the division.
And we didn't get notified when they submitted to the planning board to divide the lots up?
I don't even know if they did it to submit it to, do you know if they submitted to planning board or?
I don't,
They would have had to divide the lots, right?
well.
Well, there was
this-
separate lots to begin
Yeah,
with,
they,
right?
Oh,
they were, I think, because you have the private road, I think they just linked them for assessment reasons.
Yeah, it
Common
was all under
ownership.
one ownership, but yeah, there's like, I think it's total like 6 lots and all, like.
It's a
One
weird
has
thing.
like
You look at the
4 and
assessor's
then
map, you go
4
highlight
has like 2,
Yes.
so there's a total of 6. and They're all 5,000.
And I mean, this is gonna be deed restricted just like the last one to 1 bedroom. They're only getting 1 bed. They're not getting
Oh, yeah,
any more.
that's another issue. I don't know which owner did it, but one owner framed a 2-bedroom in there.
Okay.
They roughed it in.
Yeah.
So if you look at now, it looks like it's 2 bedrooms, but it was not earlier. It was a 1 bedroom.
Okay,
So he's gonna have to, take that out.
Now, let's ask town council, but I mean, this is why you have lawyers do the close and get title insurance, to get somebody to go after if you do have to, if something like that happens.
Do you need a motion? Want to make a motion
I'll
on that?
make a motion, we continue, do you want any other stuff to talk about, or was that the main
No,
thing?
no, that was it.
I was fine with the other stuff.
Yeah, everything else looked fine, everything on the
Yeah.
tanks, and I had no, that was my only issue with this one as well.
All right, I'll make a motion, we continue this till November 6th.
Second.
And ask town council?
Yeah, and have Ed ask town council, and if you need to be involved as the chair, you should make sure you get the correct answers that you want also.
Okay.
So yeah, I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, review and approve meeting minutes as typed. We have 4 of them on the agenda. The first, we'll do them all individually. First one, July 10th, 2024. We continued this from the last meeting because Bob was not present last week at the last meeting. All 3 were present for the entire meeting. I have no issues with.
I'm good.
I'll make a motion, we approve the July 10th, 2024 minute meetings as typed. That wasn't 4:30 though, right? These all say 4:30 on them again.
These were 4:30, weren't they?
Yeah, those were in July.
Oh, is this when we had to come in before everybody?
Yeah, I think,
Okay, yeah, that's
yeah, the
fine.
July ones were, but then when it went to August, it was, remember we pushed off because it was gonna be,
The 3rd of July.
July 3rd, yeah, so we had to push it.
Okay,
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next meeting minutes, July 24th, 2024. All 3 members were present for the, this is the one, says, Bob, you arrived late at 5 PM, and if you look down all the votes, you only voted on the last thing on the agenda for Blueberry Drive.
I might as well just recuse myself from the whole thing so we don't make it complicated.
All right.
And I'm fine with everything.
I'm good too. Make a motion, we approve the Board of Health meeting minutes for July 24th, 2024 as typed.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Next on the agenda, review and approve the August 21st, 2024 meeting minutes as typed. This one we went back to 6 o'clock at. All 3 members were present. I have, actually, no, this is wrong. Right on the first line, it says up top 6 PM, but it says call the meeting to order at 4:30.
I think it was at 6, so that's probably a mistake on the other part, on the second part.
See what I'm, the first
Yeah.
line?
Yeah,
So that
No,
one,
right there.
we need to,
It says 6 and 4:30.
okay.
with that one, we need to send back, or do you wanna make a,
We'll continue that to the next meeting on the
Okay.
6th.
wanna make a motion to continue?
I'll make a motion, we continue that to the 6th.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that's just to change that typo
Yeah.
of 4:30. Next on the agenda, we will approve meeting minutes for September 4th, 2024 at 6 PM. This one does say 6 PM. All 3 members were present for the entire meeting. And I had no issues with that one.
Well, yeah, we didn't vote on anything for 217, so it doesn't matter. Cause yeah, you recused yourself for that part, right, Bob?
County Road.
Oh, yeah, because I'm a member there, so I recuse myself for that.
But we didn't.
But we didn't vote on anything for that
It's
anyway.
just a discussion.
And I'll make a motion, we approve the September 4th, 2024 minute meetings as typed.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, go down to announcements. Turn it over to Ed. Didn't see anything in the packet to announce. Do we have anything on announcements?
No,
On that, I'd like to I just actually noticed in the police department where our meetings are held, there's a prescription drop box.
yeah,
I just happened to be in Walgreens a couple days ago in Lakeville picking up prescription, and somebody was in front of me trying to return meds and they wouldn't take it. They said they gave her some address of places like down the Cape, somewhere where she had to bring him. And they were less than thrilled. I didn't realize that was there, so maybe we should just make, I had no idea what it said to bring it to the Lakeville Police Station.
Yeah, quite a few people, we do get calls,
Okay.
that people ask where we drop them off, and we always, recommend that spot, because
Okay.
everyone knows where the police station
So there is a prescription drop off at the Lakeville for old medications, and I think there's a list of stuff on it. Do you know everything that's on that?
Yeah, there's no sharps, but you can, most drugs, you can, I don't know the entire list, but that's. the
Some
other-
pharmacies have a bag, a bag, like it's a mail, I don't know, it's a mailing thing. Like that they offer, I don't know,
Yeah,
but not the same pharmacy, another pharmacy does. I know there's an offer.
okay.
Does
And
anyone know where you can get rid of old gas?
Like gasoline, or,
Yeah.
I
we
don't.
don't,
I mean, there's
No,
the
this-
oil thing at the transfer station, you can dump old, there's the vats that can dump old oil in. You can ask the guys there.
I think gas might be different, because it's flammable.
That I don't know. Do we have that on our website, or could we put, the
I
drop?
think it is on our website, but
Okay.
if it's
Just
not, I
find
will confirm it and make sure it's on that now.
Somebody's looking
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
drop off old medication,
Yeah.
and there was a place to drop instead of throwing it away or flushing it down the toilet is not a good idea. 'Cause some medications can hurt your septic, so that is never recommended to flush medication.
Well, then some stuff eventually you can get into the water table too.
Correct. So I just saw that, so that was, I have nothing else, any announcements, nothing?
I have nothing.
Discuss recent Board of Health agent pending items.
We have no pending items.
Good. Anything on Triple E's pretty much done, the hot frost tonight, I think? Or-
Yeah, they actually stopped, testing. They
Okay.
stopped testing on the 11th, I believe. They did, you hadn't asked me last meeting whether they dropped them down, and they did. They actually called me at the meeting. I got a call, but I didn't answer it. And then, so right after the meeting, I realized they did drop Middleborough, Carver, and those, the risks. So, but pretty much everyone that was at all risk is still a moderate risk for AAA. I don't think the entire risk goes away until there's a good frost. West Nile, they still have some communities. Rochester is still a high risk for that, for West Nile.
But yeah,
the-
tonight it was supposed to be close though, right?
32, I
right?
just don't know if they're hot
Yeah.
enough or long enough to.
Yeah, but like I said, then they stopped testing, so they really have no
Yeah.
indicator now, so I think everything is just moderate risk until we get to the end of the frost.
Okay. I'm fine.
We good? Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.